Hello everyone and welcome back to CTCR round number CTCR round 11. We are here in Saudi Arabia for the second last race ever in CTCR corner to corner racing, with an amazing championship battle towards the end of this season. I don't think there ever has been a year without a championship battle. Obviously yesterday Jackie Gabbana wrapped up the tier 2 and he will join us in tier 1 the next season, which is going to be very interesting indeed. But right now our focus is on tier 1, where Syke leads the way from Randro, but only 9 points ahead. Syke will start from the back of the grid today once he serves his qualifying ban. We've 16 so far, hoping to get 17, but 16 is still a good show up for once you probably get over the 15 drivers. That's when you kind of have a really good showing from your drivers. But we'll ride on board with its Jake mate as he's going to bring us for our first lap of Jeddah here this evening. .33 as he's going now around turn 13. We'll get all that ready once it gets set. Patterson, another one to serve a quali ban, also retires. Up as his Jake may cross the line at 1:30, but is immediately beaten by Tyro. What a lap that is indeed. Behind him, Randro 17 has invalidated and is into the pit lane to end off his first flying lap. Oven Curry goes a few tenths slower, as SJR goes just also a few tenths slower. We wait for CRM Doodle also to come across the line now, and it's close to its Jake mate just ahead. Next I think is Skifan getting ready to cross the line, followed by Ajdox. Skifan goes P4, Ajdox goes P4 as well, and then followed by SLR Quattro with a very good time indeed, a 1:28.5, just outscoring for now Tyro. Oh, and there goes Fideski. He's spun round Kofi and started his lap here. I'm still looking to see if we're live. We are live. Here we go. Alright. So, as we finally get everything sorted, we see Kofi go for a little bit of a spin there. Obviously not great, but we will take what we get for now. Hold on. There we go. Alright. So as Ranzo 17 leaves, he's going to need a really good qualifying today and a really good finish if he wants to get up nice and close to Syke for the final round in Abu Dhabi. Kofi is still on a lap at the moment, but obviously that spin isn't going to help him much, and he's probably just going to try regain his ERS and then get going possibly for another flying lap. We'll see a few people out on laps. Tedeschi is out on a lap here. He needs to improve on his 154 after spinning through turn 13. He then spins again, so that's not going so good for the AlphaTauri driver so far. As we watch, we're right on board with Ranzo 17's lap as he comes out of turn 13 into turn 14 now. It's into that real tough section of the track now. This turn you're going to have to master and get as close to the barriers as you can so you don't invalidate and also get the best exit possible. He was fastest in the first sector and DRS now activated. He's only one more really difficult turn. This turn up ahead now, how well can he master this? Drops it down to 6th, gets on the power well. He is so far up on his time at the moment as he goes through the longest DRS straight of the lap. Well, I'd say second longest DRS straight of the lap into the final corner of turn 27. Gets as close to the wall as he can to get the best exit, and now flat out to the line. Ranzo 17, what kind of lap time will this be? Only a 29 flat, which puts him in P5. As we watched then, Marley, he was coming to the end of his lap but it invalidated. Douglas, last time he raced he won, and that race he did win was in Miami, and it was a fabulous race indeed. He's now got himself a full-time seat in Williams until the end of the season, and we're going to have to see what he can do as he heads down through the twisty section of Sector 2. Douglas is about to now get to the line. He's also gone fastest. It says he's fastest. We don't know if he is or not, as his fuel is flashing, so that means he may be starting to run out of fuel. I won't say he will. I'd say he's probably just got this spot on as he comes to the end now. He drops down very low into second gear. That's not going to help him at all. But we'll see now. It's flat out to the line, and Douglas will put his car into the top 4. Not a bad lap indeed. As we also watch for B. Anders, also on a lap, coming to the end of his lap. And it's not going to be too great. It's just going to be enough to jump Tedeschi into P11. As Kofi starts his lap and people are on laps at the moment. But not much people improving. SJR is one to improve. He's 5/10 up on his time. SJR is the first, not the first person to go into the 127s, but it is gone for a 128 flat. Not a bad lap indeed from the Alfa Romeo driver. He's been here and there for the majority of the season, but today he is definitely there and is currently on provisional pole. So, SJR is also starting one of his flying laps. Douglas on an in lap. Ajdox is 2/10 up on his time, and this should put him up into the top 5 if all things go to plan. Might get a bit of a slipstream here off Douglas, I think, as well. coming towards the end of his lap as he heads on the long run down towards turn 27. I think that's possibly Owen Kurtno ski fan ahead of him that's caused a few yellow flags. Go into the top 5, not a bad lap at all. CRM Doodle also on a lap time at the moment is 1/10 up on his time as he's coming to the end now. I just missed there what he is up on his sector 2, but I'm guessing it's going to be pretty good. He wants to get into the low 128s if you want to have a little bit of a chance for a front row start today. I don't think CRM Doodle will have the capabilities for that, but he may set a decent lap indeed as he comes to the line and goes P9. Marley is the last driver that doesn't have a quali ban to set a lap, and he's going to set one now with 6 minutes remaining as a Williams IC comes to the end of their lap, and it is Tyro who is 2 seconds down, so that's not going to be a good lap at all, but he has the ERS burning and he is go for another lap as we wait for, I think that's Fideschi coming to the line, who is still also trying to set a very competitive lap time. It's Jake Mate also going to come to the line now. That was only to start a lap. Ski Fan's on a lap. He's a 10th up as he abandons it and comes in, so that's the end of that. We wait then for Kofi, the only Aston Martin driver today. Frank Caroso pulled out last minute. He already has a quali ban for Abu Dhabi, so we can't get another one. Kofi, that's his lap finish. SL or Quattro about to start one of his final flying laps anyway. I don't think he's going to get back in time as we wait for F1 Marley to come flying through the middle of sector 2, and as he gets to the end of sector 2 right about now, he is on for a fairly quick lap indeed and should put him in the midfield battle between actually where Randro is at the moment. Randro's going to have to improve a lot as B. Anders comes out on his first lap. Marley actually isn't even that quick at all coming out of the final turns here, but he's going to get to the line and he's going to shoot up into the top 10, so not a bad lap at all from the Alpine driver. As we wait then for Tyro, also going to come to the end of his lap, invalidated and is finished. CRM Doodle I think is the same. He's run out of fuel, so he'll just throttle back as Fedeschi is also on a lap, but must have had a bit of a spin because it's not quite a competitive lap, and he is into the pits for his lap to end. SLR Quattro is 2/10 up, and we can see what time he makes through the final corners here to see if he can shoot himself up into pole position. Not quite, just behind SJR, as I think that is the end of the McLaren's qualifying here today, as Beander's still on his outlap but about to start his final flying lap. It's Jake Mate is the same. He's packed a good bit of fuel into his Mercedes, and although invalidated right there, he will go again one last time. F1 Marley on an in lap. We'll see if he can get back and back out in time for one more lap. So, as we watch Randro 17, the first of the men in the pit to come out and set a lap. He's going to need some lap in order to shoot possibly over a second up on his time to get onto pole position. Is that possible today? I really don't know, but we'll soon find out as he goes on his outlap at the moment. It's Jake Mate, I am guessing, is still on a potential outlap himself with SLR Quattro behind. We'll see how much fuel he packed. I don't think he's packed enough to go for another lap, so I'd say that is the end of the McLaren's qualifying. But we're right on board with it's Jake Mate, because he's going to be the final driver out of the ones that aren't on an outlap right now to set a lap time. He's going to go take a very wide line to get the best exit and hopefully set a decent enough lap. It's Jake Mate now burning the ERS and is go. many drivers out on their outlap, but I think he's just got a bit of a pocket of space there that's going to allow him to work well and work with a bit of speed as he comes through turns 1, 2 and 3. Fairly smooth indeed is Jake May as he goes through the very tricky sections of 4, 5 and 6, but manages to keep the car in its hole as he goes now through the S's. And this is a part where you literally cannot invalidate the car, but everything is going so smooth for the Mercedes driver so far, and because of that he is just level on his time. It looked like very quick as he goes through that tricky sector 1, but it looks like he is level at the moment as he goes through the long 13 into 14, 15 and then turn 16 now, the real tricky part where you have to go quick but not too quick, as it's Jake May loses the car and has spun. Luckily there is no damage and he has a lovely little bit of time to turn around and get going, so he will be lucky. He slows down to let Fedeschi by, and just behind Fedeschi is of course Randro 17. He doesn't want to get in his way, as we'll switch to Randro. He seems to have abandoned his lap as well and is going to go one last time. Behind is a Williams. You don't want to get in the way of him. But I think, is that Douglas? No, it was Tyro who's also on a cool down lap. So Randro will see if he has enough ERS now to be able to start, and I'm going to try to find out who is on a lap at the moment. Fedeschi I think is on one. No, Beanders is on an out lap, or on a hot lap, and he is 6/10 up. Although it looks quicker, I don't think it actually is, but we'll see now as he comes to the end of the final sector and through the final corner. We'll see how much time he can gain, and can he get possibly up into the top 10. It is a real battle to see who can get in the top 10 at the moment, especially with that same battle for potentially P1, as B. Anders does get into the top 10 for now. Marley starting his final lap, and as the time tickers down, I don't think SLR Quattro is gonna make it, so that's gonna be the end of qualifying for the McLaren. He is finished. Behind on a hot lap is Oven Curry, and he is 3/10 up. This should be able to possibly put him up into the top 4, and we'll see how much time he gains through the final corner here. He doesn't even drop down a third like most people. He stays in 4th gear. Up he goes on his time as Oven Curry goes into the top 4. Behind them is CRM Doodle, who does not improve. Douglas, he jumps Oven Curry again up into P4. Kofi 2/10 up. This could possibly put him also into P4. We'll see now. Oven Curry only P5. Behind them is Fedeschi, still yet to set a competitive lap time, is 19 seconds up in his time. I don't think it's going to be any more competitive than his other one was. Behind them is Randro 17. Will he improve? No, he won't. That is the surprise shock of the day. Randro 17 is not going to be anywhere close to the front row. Ski Fan also heads towards the line. 5/10 up goes P10. Marley comes to the end of his lap. It's Jake May. That is qualifying finished. So, a very undramatic end to qualifying, despite the fact that Randro will not be in the top 5. But SJR, who was on provisional pole about 10 minutes ago, remains on provisional pole and will start the race on pole position tomorrow. What a debut for SLR Quattro. He goes P2 and lines up on the front row alongside the Alfa Romeo. It's a Williams 2, 3, 4. Douglas starting to really impress us now after the win in Miami. Couldn't make Brazil, but he's made today, and he's been absolutely flying so far today as Tyrone and him lock out the second row. Kofi in the Aston Martin has put in a few impressive performances in P5. Oven Curry the same, despite the shockers he had in Brazil. It's been a good showing. He's in P6 with Adstock 7th. Randro 17 crucially P8, lining up alongside Adstocks. CRM Doodle and Ski Fan round out the drivers starting in the points. Alpine are just outside the points in 11 and 12 with Marley and Beanders. It's Jake May 13th, Fedeschi 14th, and then finally we have Syke serving the quali ban along with a Patish Hund. So It's going to be a very interesting race indeed to see as the gap. CRM Doodle to Randro. So it's going to be very interesting indeed. Definitely will be between those top three battling it out, as it's almost like a Dutch dominance here with SLR, Quattro and Tyro all battling it out for P1, and we'll find out. Okay, as the formation lap gets underway, we finally watch as you pick your potential drivers, see who will win. win in CTCR. He's been begging for it to happen, and with the pole in Brazil and everything that was happening, he just hoped that it would come sooner rather than later. And at the moment, he's hoping that it is sooner rather than later, because SLR is gaining, and with the use of DRS on this long pit straight, and with the fastest lap just set, SLR Quattro in his CTCR debut takes the lead of the race. SJR are going to try hold it, but the McLaren is able to get through. SJR are going to try maybe stick just ever so slightly side by side, but it looks like the McLaren is a full car width ahead and into the lead. label. He is having a very poor introduction of things to CTCR, and in doing so he's lost the car and he's gone straight into CRM Doodle there, and I don't know, it looked like he turned into him there. I'm gonna have to watch that back, but it looked like, or maybe he tried to move off the track. That's gonna definitely be investigated by the stewards, because that is a very, very interesting manoeuvre indeed, and because of that, CRM Doodle has picked up front wing damage. Luckily nothing else, but Fedeschi, who supposedly caused the incident with Syke as well, I think his race may be over now, as that looks to be Kofi. Kofi's had a bit of a spin down at turn 22, and now falls 7 seconds behind the leaders, and with Randro now catching up potentially for P4. B. Anders a good bit behind as Tyro overtakes SJR. SJR is into the pits. Kofi has front wing damage from that spin, which means he's into the pits. Randro alongside him, but Randro should jump him because of the Aston Martin's front wing change. We'll see now if the undercut is effective from Ajdox, and will he be able to get ahead of possibly even SJR. SJR is very slow coming out of the pit lane, but I think he will be ahead of Ajdox, but Ajdox is back ahead of Randro, and goes a little bit too narrow there and picks up a time penalty. Randro is still only in P. Oh, and who's that? That's SJR has spun. SJR has spun and has lost his front wing on cold tyres. Oh, and almost hits Randro. But Randro manages to avoid it, luckily. Gets through, and this very chaotic safety car, or round of pit stops, has led to the safety car being out, which is perfect timing for the McLaren and for Skifan. Skifan possibly now going to jump the likes of SJR and Kofi because of this safety car being out. Tyro as well should come into the pit lane along with the McLaren and have the faster tyre. But Ajdox got wing damage along with SJR, and with Skifan also pitting, it means Randro should be up onto the podium positions now, and that puts him in the lead. Will put him in the lead of the championship. SJR still driving quickly with that front wing damage. Obviously he must have a very, very low delta because of his spin and the amount of times he was still, but Tyro and SLR Quattro are into the pit lane, and Skifan should follow him. Behind them is B. Anders, who's gonna stay out but has already been lapped, which means that his race is over, and Tedeschi really is causing a lot of trouble at the moment, as Skifan is in and comes out. Kofi obviously stays out. He wasn't involved in that incident. Skifan, what an absolute masterclass he had in staying out that little bit longer, because he's onto fresh hards now and is out till the end of. Crucial for Red Bull, especially with his teammate not racing and Owen Curry not doing a great job for being a reserve. Adjox comes out on softs as CRM Doodle comes out on mediums for 13 laps in the end. It's going to be a very interesting second half of this Grand Prix with SLR Quattro and a CTCR debut from Tyro and Randro, and then unfortunately B. Anders is kind of in the way here of Randro and Tyro, which means Randro isn't going to maybe get time to have a go at the front runners. Very interestingly. Tyro chasing down SLR Quattro. I missed that safety car restart, as it seemed like Randro had a lot of trouble there and has dropped all the way down to P11, unfortunately. But Tyro battles SLR Quattro and is up into the lead of the race. The man who won in Japan, the man that has dominated Miami, is on for an absolutely astonishing race here today and is currently leading. Finally, after a few, obviously his tyres will start to wear out, but after a few poor laps he's managed to get into the lead. Agdox managed to stay on those hard tyres. SJR took the risk, came into the softs and then back onto the hards, because those softs will wear out quickly, and Agdox is going to probably have to hope for another late safety car in order to get back up in, as I think Rancho must have had some bit of trouble at the back there. He has dropped down to P11 after everything seemed to be going well. He had trouble, but we'll see what happens when he gets back into things. And Fedeschi has seemed to lose the car again and then resets to track. That was caught on video and that will be reported. I think Andrew's disconnected. CRM Doodle picks up 5 seconds. We'll have a look at 3 seconds. As the battle of the 3 seconds here for P4 also continues as Randro as SJR possibly will get by him too, as you can see the overspeed of the Alfa Romeo, and it looks like Douglas might try it as well. He doesn't, but he's going to possibly go down the inside of SJR. No, he seems to shy out of that one as well, as SJR now right in the back of Ski Fan, and with DRS and the slipstream he's going to pull to the side. He's going to go round the outside, and SJR is up into 6th place. For how long though, because Ski Fan going to try fight. Also, here I don't know what his teammate is doing here. He's kind of just it's not going to plan for the Alpine team. No team orders here, as you can see the blue. It's not helping the team whatsoever, as Adjox calls a halt and comes into the pit lane and possibly will put on more soft tyres. Or is that the hard tyres? It is. The hard tyres go on for Adjox, as Randro has no front wing. Now, I don't know what has happened there, but he has no front wing, and Owen Curry is going to overtake him, and Randro now into the pit. With this race, is now 5 seconds ahead of the McLaren. He seemed so confident, and I was so confident in him possibly winning with how well he was driving, but Tyro has came out after this safety car restart and has been on another level of speed and is now up in the P1. Kofi is in P3 for the second time this season, with SJR in P4, sadly missing out on a potential another win today. Skifan in P5, and a good gap for himself and Marley. Marley's had a brilliant drive considering what happened in Brazil. He's had a very good drive today up in the P6. Patish Hund in P7, trying to chase down Marley, but don't think it's really going to happen. We'll soon find out now, because he is getting just a little bit closer. Adjdox out onto the hards in P8, with Owen Curry battling CRM Doodle in P9. Douglas is in for a new front wing and a change of tyres, and its Jake mate has a bit of a spin down at turn 3. Randro's into the pits again for another front wing and another set of tyres, and as Tyro comes round the final corners now, Randro is about to be lapped. He has. So Randro has been lapped by Tyro, and even if a safety car comes out, it looks like Randro, it's going to be 9 points between them, between the two championship rivals going in to the final race of the season. So that's going to be very important, because if Randro and Syke finishes P2 in Abu Dhabi, it doesn't really matter, because sure, Randro won't win the championship, so we need to at least finish in the points here and get close, and that isn't happening. CRM Doodle gets by Owen Curry here, obviously on the fresher tyres, and trying to recover from his earlier spin and damage he got, as Tyro is still gaining a massive gap to SLR Quattro. Still had a very comfortable race in P2. Patish Hund now battling side by side with Adjdox. The two Italian teams going side by side, but it looks like Adjdox is going to get the better of him and get up in the P6. Marley came into the pit lane here. For new softs, which is very surprising. He seemed to be running comfortably in P6. Wonder, did Marley get damaged there? Because I'm very surprised he came into the pit there. Well, anyway. looks like Kofi is going to be able to settle for the podium anyway, because obviously SJR does have that 3-second penalty as well, which isn't going to help his cause. Douglas is the only player outside of the points that hasn't. Oh, and someone's had a spin. It's Formula 1 Marley. Has had a bit of a spin down at turn 10-11, and well, luckily will still stay in P10, and unless a very, very late safety car comes out, it's going to stay like that. There is no battles at the moment. The only one to make notice of is the Red Bulls versus Alpha here. Two teams both battling for separate occasions in the championship. Obviously Alfa Romeo, with their total points tally, could be possibly on for a picked up the stick. Digital and net. So Adgedox is going to go around the outside of Ski Fan here. Will he get the move done? It looks like he has. Ski Fan's going to try come back in him as his Jake mate retires from the race here down at turn 2. It's too late for a safety car, but it's the third DNF of this race. Well, second DNF, third disqualification. These two going right at it here, and Ski Fan, with only in tier 2 at the start of this race, is really showing why he should always be a tier 1 driver here, and is defending from Adgedox, who is notoriously going to be a quicker driver than him, really well here, and is still going to try go side by side. This is an amazing battle to watch here between the two of them. Ski Fan manages to keep P5. I think both of them have equal penalties, so it's all to race for here between the two of these, and at the moment they're racing for P5 for 10 points today, and Red Bull want that 10 points to hopefully wrap up P4 in the constructors, even with Aston Martin gaining that little bit more on them. We'll keep an eye on Tyro as he goes through his final lap of this race, but it's Twitch TV Adgedox97 who is gaining on Ski Fan and will hopefully go for the move here into the final corner, or into the first corner, because with DRS now activated, Ski Fan, they now see the flashing red light, which means that Adgedox will be able to burn that ERS a little bit more. Ski Fan will go for it and does have to twitch a little bit, which gets him all out of shape. It's a lovely move by Adgedox, who manages to take P5 off the Red Bull. So we watch Tyro as he heads through Sector 2, and it's looking like it's going to be his second race win of the season. He's got so unlucky throughout the season, and you have to say he really does deserve this win. So he came third in Australia. He didn't race in Australia. He came third in Hungary. He came third in Azerbaijan. He finally got that first win in Japan. And as he rounds turn 27 today, from third on the grid, Tyro 010 is going to cross the line for the second time this season, and he is going to win the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. A lovely little bit of, I think that was trying to burn out to the line. He manages just to break his front wing instead. It's going to be SLR Quattro to pick up the only points of McLaren today in P2, and finishes the constructors for McLaren and wins it for them. Kofi gives Aston Martin a huge jump towards Red Bull in the constructors and picks up his second podium of the season in P3. SJR in P4 with another decent drive himself. Adgedox got by Ski Fan finally and picks up P5, with a Patish Hund now coming to the line for P7 for Ferrari, a team still waiting for their second podium this season, since Turkey Boy in Belgium is the only person to do that. CRM Doodle finishes P8, with F1 Marley has a little bit of a spin towards the final few corners, but is far enough ahead of Oven Curry to be able to keep on to his P9. Well, we'll see now as Oven Curry is going to gain on him, but not gain enough. Oh, but Marley had an extra penalty, and Oven Curry picks up the fastest lap of the race, so that is a little bit of an extra bonus as Marley picks up P10 and Douglas crosses the line for P11. It's been a very frantic race with both championship contenders not scoring at all. We'll soon find out how crucial that will be as we go into Abu Dhabi next week, all to play for between Syke and Randro. But as I go through the grid finally, we will see what will happen. There is the podium. Tyro, his second race win of the season. What a win it has been. SLR Quattro getting his second as well, or getting his first podium, and wrapping up the constructors for McLaren. I'm sure they'll be happy about that in the Tier 1 chat, Tier 1 McLaren chat, and Kofi as well. Alright, so as Tyro wins the race, SLR Quattro P2 with Kofi in P3, SJR P4, Adgedox 5, Ski Fan 6, Patish Hund 7, CRM Doodle 8 and Oven Curry in 9th with the fastest lap. F1 Marley 10th with Douglas, who was on for such a good race at one stage, in P11. Randro in P12 with a very up and down race, you could say, for the Uruguayan. Bianda's P13 with its Jake May 14th. Syke DNF'd early into the race, but is still in the lead of the championship in 15th, with Fedeschi with one of his worst races of the season in P16. We'll go through the incidents and warnings in case people want to get those track limits removed. It's been a pleasure to watch this race today, and I really hope you would join us for Abu Dhabi for a crazy finale. But that's all in Jeddah, and we'll see you next week.